The idea of escape didn't come to Daniel all at once. It crept in quietly, like the river he had begun to follow. For months, survival had been enough. Food, shelter, fire. Each day was a victory measured in breath and heartbeat. But something shifted the morning he noticed the current. He had been collecting water when he saw it, the steady pull of the stream always moving in one direction, not wandering, not circling, flowing out. Daniel stood there longer than usual, watching leaves drift along the surface. One disappeared around a bend, carried beyond his sight. "Water leads somewhere," he whispered. A memory surfaced, one of those videos he once watched without thinking. Follow rivers. They lead to civilization, or at least to a way out. That was the moment the forest stopped feeling like a place to endure and started feeling like something to escape. The plan formed slowly. Daniel knew better than to rush. The forest punished impatience, so he prepared. First he mapped what he could, not with paper, but with memory, landmarks, trees shaped like broken spears, the bend where the caimans gathered at dusk, the shallow crossing where he once slipped and nearly lost his footing. Then came the raft. It began as an idea too large for his hands, but like everything else he broke it down, logs light enough to float, strong enough to hold weight. He chose fallen wood, dragging each piece back to a small clearing near the river bank. "Use what's available, secure everything," the words echoed again. He cut vines, twisting them into thick cords. He bound the logs side by side, tightening each knot until his fingers ached. The first attempt fell apart the moment he tested it. He didn't curse. He rebuilt stronger bindings, better balance, a cross frame for stability. Days passed, maybe weeks, until the raft no longer felt like a fragile idea, but something real, something that could carry him. The night before he left, Daniel didn't sleep. He sat by his fire, staring at the shelter he had built, the place that had kept him alive. The walls, the traps, the worn path he knew by heart. "This place saved me," he said quietly. And now he was leaving it. Fear crept in, not the sharp panic he once knew, but something deeper. What if the river led nowhere? What if it led to worse? But another thought answered. What if it leads out at dawn? He pushed the raft into the water. The river accepted it without resistance. Daniel stepped on carefully, testing his balance. The raft shifted, then steadied. He held a long pole, guiding himself away from the bank. For a moment he hesitated. The forest stood behind him, dense, silent, familiar. Then the current took hold. The river carried him forward. At first it was calm. The water moved steadily, the banks drifting by in a blur of green. Daniel stayed alert, scanning for danger. He remembered the caimans, the hidden threats beneath the surface. Hours passed, then the river narrowed, the current quickened. "Careful," he muttered, adjusting his stance. The water began to churn, pulling faster, stronger. The peaceful drift turned into a force he could no longer fully control. The raft creaked beneath him as it surged forward. Ahead, the river bent sharply, and beyond it he heard something new, a roar. Not an animal, water. Daniel's eyes widened. Rapids. The raft lunged forward, dragged toward the sound. He dug his pole into the water, trying to steer, to slow, to fight. But the river was stronger, much stronger. The forest, once behind him, now rushed past on both sides. The water foamed, crashed, surged toward whatever lay ahead. Daniel tightened his grip, heart pounding, not in fear alone, but in something else, hope. Because for the first time in 6 months, he wasn't just surviving the forest, he was moving through it, toward something unknown, toward something beyond. And whatever waited beyond that bend, freedom or something worse, he was already committed.